In terms of Honeymoon, so actually in my like general artistry, my production came first, but that's because when I was about 10, 11, that kind of like starting high school, I actually used to dance before I went into making music. And I remember watching You Got Served and like some other don't, but specifically You Got Served, because like when they're doing the dance battles and then they're doing like the robot and people are like dancing and the music goes to the dancers and stuff like that. I remember thinking I need to make music for my dance routines, so I'm like literally choreographing the music and the dance. So then I started teaching myself how to make beats then. And I realized I didn't have any formal training in music, but I kind of understood I could like dissect beats in order to make them. I understood how a drum beat should sound, what like nice chords would be. Even though I was teaching myself how to play the piano, I could kind of like figure out harmony by ear and stuff like that. So then, because I guess I had that, like, I could write music by ear, then I just thought, well, then I could come up with melodies. And I liked music so much being a dancer, because I think the dance world collaborates with music so well. It's like people that love dance just love the feeling that they get from listening to music, that the way that they express that love for it is through movement. So because I already had that passion for music so much and like how it made me feel, it made it very easy for me to start expressing myself lyrically in that way, because I was able to do it through movement, and I was able to come up with melodies because I was always actively listening to music. And I think that's like one of the things that makes someone more inclined to be an artist, is you listen to music but you're really listening to it, you're listening to learn it. It started with the production, then I went into writing. Again, like I said, I wasn't that good at singing when I was young, but I'll do it anyways, because I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to send my beats to some serious singer somewhere as an 11-year-old. So like I was writing my songs, recording it with like a really cheap microphone, a webcam kind of mic. And then, so if I fast forward to when I started working on Honeymoon, it's crazy because Honeymoon came out in 2019, August, but most of the songs were made in about 2012. And it's a crazy story. So it's like the songs are they're super old. Even when I listen to it now, I'm just like, there's so much. Like my style has changed quite significantly, because that was a really like, I don't know, I kind of describe it as a juvenile sound for me. It goes all over the place and it keeps going and it keeps wanting to change. So that's why every song kind of transitions into another one, because I have so many ideas and I can't ever settle on one thing. And I'm excited because I'm like significantly younger than I am now, and like excited just to have an idea. So I'm just like, everything has to go in. Whereas now I'm kind of like, no, you stop here, keep it calm. You've got the vibe, you've got the groove, you stick with it and you build on that. When I started Honeymoon, I'm pretty sure the first song the song that was made first that ends up on the project is actually the intro mine. And originally mine was a full song, it was about 4 minutes long, and it had this Forrest Gump sample. I sampled Forrest Gump, the scene where I think Jenny is ill or something like that. I can't remember clearly at this point, but I just know Forrest is talking to Jenny and it's like such a sad scene. And I was just like, it has to start there because it's also very romantic. They're talking about how, they're so in love with each other and stuff like that. So it starts with that. And because of the kind of like, it's kind of like a future soul. It's experimental. It's neo soul, but like with 808s. And like in 2012 when I was making it, around that time, that sound was brand new, as in no one was really doing it. So I was just like, I think I was gassed. I was like, okay, this means that this is the kind of sound I'm going to go with, kind of fusing old school R&B and neo soul with like 808s. Because if I remember what was happening in 2012 musically, it probably was like a T-Pain kind of like style of music when 808s were, and auto-tune was just kind of coming in and being cool. And like, but the R&B that people really respected was always the 90s R&B. So I wanted to fuse those two, and that was really my style. So the intro started, but really when I knew I was going to start making an album that was making sense is when I made High Off This, which ended up being when did that come though? High Off This, I don't remember what order all of these happened in because it was so many years ago at this point. It was High Off This, I Hope We Never Break Up, in Mine. Those three songs that when I had those three, whatever point in life those three songs were all existed at the same time, the rest of the album started from that point onwards. And yeah, I think those songs are the songs that made me realize what I was going to sound like if I was to do a body of work. So with I Hope You Never Break Up, again, because Honeymoon, it was made in like 2012. I Hope You Never Break Up, I made in 2014. And like, which is what I love about music, because now that the video is out, and the video we made we shot in December sort of time, it's crazy how songs are suddenly so relevant now. Like how you can hear them differently depending on what the scope of the world is in this moment. Because when I first made that song, to me, it definitely just meant, you know, when you meet someone and you're like, this is perfect, and the feeling that they give you, you're like, you must be the one. And then like doubt creeps in and you're just like, man, you better not break up with me. Like, this is too good to be true. And like, just trying to capture that feeling. Because the one thing I do with songs is I think about things that everyone can relate to, but like the really specific moments, like literally with I Hope You Never Break Up, everyone writes a love song, or people write a breakup song, but like that specific feeling of that realization that this is someone that you really, really like, and like that one thing, this better not end, and I hope it doesn't end. And like, even if it does end, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that it lasts for forever. And then I want to just capture that. Then I'd written the first verse, the chorus, and I just knew it needed, like, Eggo's one of my closest friends, but I'm also like her biggest fan. Like the way that I discovered her, I randomly saw this video of her singing on, it wasn't even on YouTube, it was on a Facebook video, and I hit her up that way. And like, I just knew it needed a break in like the texture of the tones, but also to put two women on a song. It's very rare that you hear that. And I don't even, like now actually not so much, because like artists are collaborating so much right now. But then in 2012, to have two women on a love song, not speaking to each other, just performing their own like perspective on this topic, or taking it or interpreting it how they would, I just thought I needed Eggo's voice in this song. And then when I released the song in January 2015, it did so well just on the sound. It was only available on SoundCloud, but for what like doing well on SoundCloud is, it did well for like in terms of getting huge reposts and big numbers, and then getting some like radio play, got national radio play and international radio play, which was a bit crazy, but it did it just from SoundCloud, because it kind of set up my entire like, okay, established me more as an artist, because people heard me produce and sing, and they heard me collaborate, and then it was a song that got the most reach of all of my songs at that point. It just kind of, it's been cemented. This song has been cemented in my artist history. So then when it came to the album coming out, and I was just like, I need to do a video, it had to be this one. It had to be this video. It had to be this song, just to kind of like christen it. It needed to christen the beginning of this, like my artistry for me, the relationship that I have with Eggo, and just like the music that we've made, and like where we're both going as well. That like, obviously when I was making the video, the last thing I ever thought was that we were going to be in a quarantine, because I had plans. Like I said before, I had so many plans. I had rollout plans. I had listening party. I was going to do a screening of the video. We had like a cool venue. Like, it's crazy, because I was going to do, because Honeymoon, obviously just the title in itself is quite romantic. So I wanted to do just romance themed parties. And like that I didn't get to do. But who knows? I can't say that. It might happen in the future. Hopefully it's like not too long. But like now it sounds completely different. Like you're saying, now it's like you're having this conversation with people that you're stuck with, and saying, I hope you never break up with. Some people might not be feeling like that right now. Some people might be feeling like, goodness me, I cannot wait to get out of here. If I have to live with you one more day, I'm going to jump. Sorry. I think it's a good reminder, though, that like, if you're getting sick of someone, this is a song to listen to remind you of why you were with them in the first place. And like, if you're forgetting, because people can wind you up. I actually have another song, which is crazy, called Easily I Forget, that we've just re-released. Again, another re-release. It's with Alpha Mist. And Easily I Forget is literally about when you have gotten you are arguing with someone who you're like, to different people, they can interpret it in different ways, but it's when you've got into a place where you're having just the most toxic kind of arguments with somebody, but there's someone that you really love, but they just have this way of pulling out the worst in you. And that happens when you're like in claustrophobic environments with someone, or you're in a really like tightly attached relationship that has unhealthy habits and stuff like that. Easily I Forget literally is asking the person that you're arguing with to just please remind me of the person I was before I'm like this evil person that's arguing with you, because ultimately I love you and I care about you so much, but like because we've passed the threshold where like, you know, when a toxic relationship becomes controlling, and it's just like because you love each other so much you've crossed the boundaries. And like Easily I Forget is saying, when I turn into that person that is screaming you down and is disrespecting you, even though like I'm supposed to be loving you, please just remember who I am. Like, this isn't me. This is just coming out of like a hurtful place, and I'm projecting my pain on you because you're so close. So it's just like those two songs kind of marry together so well in this time. And like Easily I Forget was released about just under a month ago. So like the two of those songs have come whilst being in the quarantine. And like, I don't know, I hope people listen to those things and hear and see their situation a little bit more differently.